Hello there everybody, it is me XfreezerBunny and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So today we are building a retirement center. So I was playing around with Nifty Knitting and I realized how well the gameplay that came with that pack worked with elders. So it got me thinking to build this retirement center because I really wanted to do a build for elders. To be honest, I feel like elders don't get as much love, so I'm really happy to finally do this retirement center. To be honest, I was a little bit confused at first between what a retirement center was or what a retirement home was. Initially, I was just gonna call this a retirement home, but I understand there can be a little bit of confusion regarding that specific term. Basically, what I wanted for this build is that I wanted a facility that provides housing and care for seniors. Sometimes a retirement home can be used to refer to a private residence, but in this case, I didn't want to do a private residence. I wanted to do kind of like a public housing. So after doing a little bit of a poll on my social media, I decided to call this a retirement center, also after your guys' suggestions as well. So I ended up calling this place the Legacy Acres Retirement Center. By the way, this was totally not planned, but I actually built this place on a lot in Brindleton Bay called Tail's End, which I thought was very ironic and a little bit indicative of what this place was. I was so close to calling this place Tail's End Retirement Center, but somehow that didn't seem right for me, so I'm glad I came up with Legacy Acres instead. By the way, this build initially started looking very basic. I started out with a house that looked very much like a 1970s ranch, which I actually did not like. So here you can see me actually fiddling with the exterior to make it feel a little bit more modern. So this is what I ended up coming up with. I like how I was able to change how the roof looks to make it feel more modern, and because I did a more complicated roofing, I was also able to incorporate some skylights as well that open onto the main lobby area of this place. By the way, just to clarify, this isn't necessarily a Nifty Knitting kind of build. I just gave myself a lot of artistic license to use whatever pack I wanted to make this elder specific build, because I feel like I haven't actually done a build specifically for elders. So anyway, before I forget, this place ended up having 5 suites. All of them are fully furnished in a similar way, but I also made each one distinct to cater to the needs of their occupants. Each suite has an ensuite bath and also a little kitchenette as well. The entire facility also has its own kitchen, a lobby area, and a little common room, and also a lot of outdoor space for lounging and relaxing. At this point, it looks like everything is finally coming together. I like how I was able to use a lot of those wall panelings from Eco Lifestyle to make this place look so much more modern, because at first I was so close to scrapping this build because, you know, when it was looking like a 70s house, I was like, you know what, this does not look like a retirement center. So it did take a little bit of experimenting to get the look that I finally wanted. Just so you know, full disclaimer, it took me 8 hours to build this place. I had 8 hours of footage that I had to edit. I actually have been working on this for the past 2 weeks. It took me forever to edit all of the footage, to condense it basically to fit this 20 to 30 minute time frame that I give myself for every build that I put out on YouTube. That being said, I'd like to think that everything was worth it because I hope that you would enjoy it. I personally am really happy with this build. I've already shared a couple of preview images on my social media, and so far a lot of people really like it. So I'm very excited to finally put this up for you guys on YouTube. Anyway, as you can see, this lot actually faces the bay of Brindleton Bay, so I made sure to include a lot of balcony and terraces that overlook the bay. Obviously, for the occupants of this place, they would definitely prefer to have a room with a view, so I made sure that every room had a balcony that opens up to the bay, so I really love that. Right, so moving on to the interior, notice that I actually placed 2 elevators in this place. Normally, The Sims would limit the amount of elevators you can have in your house or community lot. Basically what I did is that I saved an elevator in a room and I copied it. Just so you know, every time you go into build by, the game won't let you go back into live mode if you have more than 1 elevator. So what I usually do in my gameplay is that I go back to map view so that it wouldn't ask me to delete one of the elevators basically. Also, for this build, I was very conscious about the accessibility aspect. So right now you can see me actually incorporate a lot of ramps for wheelchair users, and I also was mindful about that as well for some of the bathrooms as well. There's 5 bathrooms in this place and 2 of them were specifically designed for a wheelchair user, and I also incorporated some handrails on the hallways for people who also need that as well. So for the interior, I kept it pretty modern. You can see that I am right now working on the front desk area, and that kind of informed the rest of my furnishing for this place. I use kind of like a curvy aesthetic for the desk, and that carries on to a lot of the seating areas for this place. I wanted it to feel very relaxed and chill, so I use a lot of a soft color palette and also a lot of soft architectural elements as well. So as you can see, a lot of the seating is actually curved. I really like that technique. I've been using that so much in my recent build, so hopefully you guys aren't tired of seeing that. I mean, personally, I think it works for this place, so I'm really happy that I ended up going with that, because at first I wasn't quite sure because I've done that in a couple of my recent builds, but I think it works for this place. I think the softness is also reflected in the artworks that I chose for this place. So right there you can see me choose some paintings from cats and dogs. I actually use all 4 paintings, but one of them is inside one of the bedrooms. And right now we are furnishing kind of like the common area. I ended up not having a lot of space, surprisingly, for this place because I wanted to fit in as many rooms as I can. So for this common room, it's actually a multi-purpose room. It's kind of like a lounge area and also a dining area as well. So as you can see, I put those massage chairs right in front of those big floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the bay. Those have some gorgeous views of the ocean outside. And also I put in some dining chairs and dining tables as well. This area is pretty close to the kitchen, so I felt like it would also work really well as a dining room. I did notice a little bit of a glitch with the dining chairs. For some reason, the animation where the Sims pull out the chair from the table doesn't work for me right now. I don't know what's up with that, but I have been getting quite a lot of glitches in The Sims 4, so hopefully they fix that soon. And notice that I also incorporated some exit signs as well, fire exit signs. Whenever I'm doing these community lot builds, I also keep in mind the aspects that are usually required to have in community lots, such as fire exit signs and also fire extinguishers as well. So for the kitchen, this is kind of like an industrial kitchen, which is meant to serve the entire residential population of this place. That's why it's a little bit, you know, utilitarian, I guess. That little kitchen setup I'm using to the left right there is from Dine Out, and yes, that does work as a regular stove. So the kitchen, nothing too crazy. It feels a little bit like a kitchen you'd see in a restaurant, which was kind of my intention. I imagine this place would definitely serve delicious meals for all of its residents. And right now we are moving on to furnishing this little laundry area. I feel like with public housing like these, you definitely expect them to have some sort of a laundry area, so I made sure to make room for that as well. And notice that right next to the front desk area, I also put a little vending machine. I keep forgetting that we have vending machines in game. We had one that came with Get to Work, so I made sure to put that there. And over here we have a little bit of an achievement wall, I guess, where we have some diplomas and awards. I thought that made the place a little bit more realistic, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. Alright, so we're now moving on to furnishing the bedrooms. Now initially I was planning to just copy paste all of the bedrooms because I'm lazy like that, but I couldn't help myself because I ended up furnishing each one individually. I copied some aspects of the bedrooms, so a lot of them kind of have a similar look and aesthetic basically, but overall, each bedroom is unique because I realized that when it comes to places like these, not everybody is gonna have the same needs, right? Certain people need certain things, certain people need certain spaces, so I made sure to reflect that in the bedrooms as well. So what's unique about this first bedroom is that it has a rocking chair inside of it. I think this is the only bedroom that has a rocking chair. I think this place ends up having two rocking chairs actually. There's one on the outside terrace and there's one on the bedroom. So I'm making this little drop ceiling right here, and it reminds me so much of a project I did a while back for like a hotel development, that is basically the exact same ceiling I did for the plants for that. Okay, so the bathroom for this place is pretty basic. It's one of the bathrooms that I copied and pasted because, to be honest, I didn't see the point in personalizing all of the bathrooms, so I just went ahead and did the same for most of the bathrooms. So this is where I'm showing my indecisive side, because as you can see, I am replacing some of the items right here. Right, so for the hallways, I made sure to put some handlebars because I feel like this will help with the mobility aspect of this place. It definitely makes it feel like a hospital, and I feel like retirement homes or retirement centers are always like a mix between, you know, in my mind, it's kind of like a mix between a high-end condo and a hospital. You might have to correct me if I'm wrong about that, because personally I don't actually have a lot of experience with retirement centers. I have to say that they're not really that common where I'm from. Basically, where I'm from in the Philippines, it's more common for extended family members to actually live with their family instead of being in a retirement center. So to be honest, I tried to do a little bit of research when I did this, so if I'm getting things wrong or if I'm missing something, please let me know in the comments so I can improve on future retirement home builds. Because I definitely enjoyed this build and I definitely am planning to build more of them in the future. But right now we are furnishing this bathroom for a wheelchair user. Now there are two of these bathrooms, and I was really excited to do this because of the Sims with disability tags like that happened a very long time ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I was planning to do a build for that tag, but I actually forgot about it. But I'm so happy that I'm able to do a room specifically for, you know, a sim that is a wheelchair user. I know that that isn't the only disability, but in this case, I got to draw on some personal experience because, as you guys know, I am a junior architect and part of my work is actually doing floor plans, and one of the things that I'm very familiar about is bathrooms specifically for people with disabilities. So I was able to draw on some of that experience, some of that real life experience, and I was able to share that with you guys in this game. So I was really excited about that. Moving on to the bedrooms downstairs. This is one of the more interesting bedrooms, I have to say, because here I use one of the hospital beds from Get to Work. This actually isn't functional as a normal bed, but I thought it was very important to also have different types of accommodations for, you know, our senior elderly Sims. I got a lot of comments from people who saw that particular room from Twitter, and I think everyone really enjoyed it as well, so I'm really happy about that. By the way, each kitchenette also has a different little quirk or MacGuffin. Some have like a microwave, some have a coffee maker, and there's one, the one in this bedroom specifically, has a tea maker, which is an item that I don't really use that often, so I was able to use it here and that made me really happy. So notice that for the ground floor bedrooms, a lot of them have single beds. Right, so that pretty much sums it up for all of the interior furnishing. Right now we're furnishing some of the areas for the outside, and we're starting off with the porch. So now we are furnishing the porch area, nothing too crazy. I just put a rocking chair on the one downstairs, and I also put like a couple of lounge chairs on the second floor as well. Surprisingly, this lot had quite a lot of space, so I ended up making this little corridor right here that leads to a bell tower. I know, a bell tower for a retirement home. This was supposed to be just a solid block of bricks, but I decided to make it a bell tower. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or not for a retirement home, but it made this feel more of like an institution, which in hindsight isn't necessarily a bad thing, I don't know. But I found a bell from Seasons and I just put it in that space. So yeah. So on the ground floor of the bell tower, there's actually a little generator room, because if we have an emergency, if we have a blackout, we need that backup electricity, right? And right now I'm also working on the parking lot, so I made sure to also include a parking space for emergency as well, or for a person with disability, because usually they have a little bit more space to maneuver around if they're using a wheelchair. You know what, I feel like parking spaces really make community lots feel more realistic, because in reality we allot so much space for these kinds of areas in our commercial spaces. So I'm really happy to be able to incorporate a little bit of that in The Sims. I also keep that in mind because for me, as someone who has experience working as an architect in real life, that is very important. And of course, we can't forget that little bike parking area as well, because we are promoting sustainable transportation, people. So over here out back, we have a little plaza, which I ended up making into a deck instead, because I like the idea of making it into a deck. I also put a little tree over here in the middle. I really like this place. It feels like a nice alfresco, you know, chill spot. I put like some dining areas in here and also a barbecue, so if you want to host some, you know, outdoor activities, you can have the Sims go in here. I feel like this place would also work really well kind of like as a yoga area or like a meditation space. So if you clear out some of the dining tables and dining chairs, you can definitely like put I don't know, a yoga mat in here or a meditation chair and use that space for wellness skill instead. Like I could imagine this place having like Zumba activities in the morning, if you guys get what I mean. And here I'm just plonking in a couple of generators in this generator room just as a little bit of a backup. Also, very important thing to consider with every commercial area, there's always like a back door area for deliveries or like for a staff entrance. So I made sure to also include one of that over here. Plus I needed to use up the space, so I just put like an extra parking area over here out back. And for the landscaping, I kept it very simple. As per usual, this is my preferred landscaping. I love using grass because I just love the texture. It feels very soft and tactile, and I really like how it blends in with the surrounding landscaping for this area of Brunelton Bay. I also was mindful about covering up the view, so I made sure that all of the windows facing the ocean didn't get covered up with some trees. But I think that's actually going to be it for this build. I personally really enjoyed it, so if you did, please let me know in the comments below. But that's going to be it, so I'm gonna go now. Thank you so much for watching. You all have an awesome day. Enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.